What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to the CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. Joined in studio by my guy, Will to go Gottlieb. Will_Gottlieb. Our pal and producer, Lawrence on the controls.
Yo.
And back from his week off, our man, Big Dave, joining us on the sidebar at BOW. BAWL Sports.
Hey,
Tough Monday, but I'm happy to have Dave back in our lives. What's up, buddy?
What's happening? What's up, y'all? How y'all feel, man?
Missed you in a big way.
Yeah.
If
I
only
y'all
just
too.
because I had to read ads in your absence.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair
I said
enough.
if only.
Look,
That's not all of it, but it's a part of it.
I do want to say something though.
Please do.
So yeah, I went down with COVID. It really punched me in the face. It was really tough. I'm glad I had that week off after it was over because I still wasn't right after it was over. So just wow how that set up that way. I'm glad guys kind of set it up that way for me to get that sick, but still had that week off. But in that week, I wanted to say thank yous. Like I want to say, well, thank you to Matt for holding it down and doing everything that he always does. Thank you to Will Gottlieb for constantly, not annoyingly, but constantly being in my ear, telling me to take time off of work because I've never done that ever in my life. I've never had a job where I took a vacation. It wasn't new to me. It's new to me. I don't know anything about it. I'm always working. It's what I do. So I appreciate Will constantly telling me that because he was absolutely right. I definitely needed to do that. Shout out to my homegirl. She knows she is for basically detailing what I do on a daily basis, calling me insane, and then saying, why the hell haven't you taken time off from this? So, yeah, I appreciate the people for pushing me to sit down. And I appreciate Matt for holding it down for me because it was really awesome to get that time off. I needed it. I really did. I didn't know I needed it until I did it. So, yeah, it was cool. I'm happy I had some time off, but I'm just ready for basketball now, man. I am seriously, really, truly ready for basketball and to talk about the Chicago Bulls, man. I'm just so ready for this. I really am. I'm glad it's a few weeks away that we get to watch some Bulls basketball because I'm ready.
That's what it is, man. It's time. I'm glad that you got that time. We all took turns at the tail end of the offseason when there's not much going on anyway. A perfect time for all of us to have a little me time. And so I'm glad you took advantage of yours. I will tell you that the vibes around the office this past week were real rough. Just with all the dysfunction going on at Hallis Hall, the drama going on with the Bears, the quarterback saying things, the team weirdly having the defensive coordinator resign without an explanation. The Cubs were falling apart there for a second before getting a series sweep this weekend. Obviously, Sox fans have just been miserable for 7 months now. Everyone was like, man, I could really use a Big Dave hug around this office.
I literally heard that so many times. So many times.
Yo, I feel y'all, man. And I was, well, I can't say I was paying attention to everything because I was just completely off the grid. But as far as the Bears, like, I'll give you the bright side of it. Right now, the Bears have the number 1 pick and Carolina has the number 4 pick. That's the bright side of this right now. That trash will get them that.
And the Vikings, the Vikings who are 0-3 are playing the Panthers who are 0-3. So if the Vikings win, Panthers are going to be 0-4, And obviously the Bears bring the Broncos. So if they lose, we're looking at the top 2 picks in the draft.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to look forward to.
Shout out to September.
I don't know what this Bears team is. Honestly, this is pure trash. This defense is pure trash. The special teams, the coaching, the quarterback, all of it is ass. And I was arguing today with my family on our text message about old Bear quarterbacks because my nephew loves Jay Cutler, and I'm like, look, man, I'm tired of arguing about ugly. You know, like whether it's Jay Cutler or Rex Grossman or what Justin Fields is doing right now. I don't support ugly anymore. Like you might have a better body, might have a better personality, but it's still ugly. All right. Mm-hmm. And I'm not arguing ugly no more. I'm just not doing that shit no more, man. It's all ugly. The whole organization needs to fall. Like this is an organizational thing, bro. Like I'm just watching teams be good with quarterbacks, like just pulling quarterbacks off the trash heap and be good. Like that's an organizational failure. That's an organizational
Stroud
failure.
was lighting it up yesterday.
Lighting their ass up, man. Like their asses up, dog.
What is that?
Like it's pure trash, dog. I watched Gardner Minshew have a good season. Come on.
You want to hear my tinfoil hat theory?
Oh, absolutely.
So, all right. I think coming into the season, whether it was Kevin Warren or Ryan Poles, the top of the top knew that Justin Fields was not going to be that guy. I think they knew that. And they also knew how much hype there was around Justin Fields. They knew how much people love him and how good everybody thought he was going to be. So they couldn't justify trading him for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young because, one, those guys weren't really considered to be like locks, and I still don't think they are. So they couldn't trade Justin Fields and draft one of those guys, number one. So they traded those picks, got another pick for next year's draft, first round. And they are now in a situation where they knew they were going to be really bad again this year, but it would throw fans off the scent that Justin Fields was going to be like that guy. So he either becomes the guy or fans are done with him. And now next year, they're going to have a couple of top 10 picks probably, and they can reset with a quarterback that they draft and move on from Fields, knowing that the fans are not going to throw a fit because they got rid of their guy.
And still have tons of money on their cap sheet and available and not a veteran quarterback on their books.
Yeah.
Will, I got to teach you what tinfoil hat theory means because that's not crazy at all. That's super damn logical. It makes a lot of sense. I need to teach you that ain't what that means, bro.
That's my spin zone. Try to find some way to justify what I'm watching right now.
Well, it makes sense what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense, and yeah, that makes tons and tons of sense.
It does make sense.
I don't like that it makes sense, but it does.
Bulls fans, look, we might be staring down the barrel of a mid as hell team this season, but I'll take mid as hell over watching 14 more games of this Bears situation. I really will. And
it's only 14 more games. That's exciting.
Yeah, just 14 more. 14 more, Law. We can make it through.
Yeah, we got this.
And, I mean, this is a momentous Monday. This is the final week of the offseason before Bulls basketball officially is back. Media Day a week from today. We'll be there. Got players at the podium, got Billy at the podium, got AK at the podium, and then Nashville, why? I don't know, training camp. Next week, we're there. We made it through the offseason, y'all.
Quick question.
Yes.
Anybody know what's happening 1 month from today?
The NBA season tips off, right?
The Chicago Bulls play their first game of the regular season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. At the
Boom!
Center. See you there.
God, I'm so excited about that. In the meantime, this week, final week of the offseason, we still have the hurry up and wait situation going on with Dame Lillard and the trade request saga. More updates have kind of trickled in yesterday and today, as recently as Mark Spears on NBA Today this afternoon, like an hour ago. We'll touch on some of that, plus a weird other named player that was thrown into Jake Fisher's latest for Yahoo, and a couple more of our Prove It segments, setting goals for individual Bulls for the upcoming season. But let's start with the Dame stuff, gentlemen. I feel like NBA at large is just running out of patience, waiting for this to be over.
I'm ready.
Will's ready.
I'm ready.
Dave, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Bring that shit. I'm ready.
So, Friday afternoon, Fisher had kind of just like a wrap up of all of the other various reports and rumors that were going around. And before we get to that other weird name, he did mention Chicago and Zach and Dame and all that stuff, but basically reconfirm what we've heard from other places, which is the Blazers aren't all that keen on Zach LaVine, and that maybe it would be a 3-team situation, some other team that does want Zach, and then the Blazers, accruing other assets somewhere else if the Bulls were, in fact, trying to get in on the Dame stuff. Then, this afternoon on NBA Today, Mark J. Spears said there is an expectation that Dame Lillard will be out of Portland by the time the Blazers have their media day next week, all the while saying the Bulls talk with Dame is waning and the Raptors have emerged as the front runners over the Miami Heat, emerged as the front runners to land Dame in a trade. Big Dave, what do you think about all this?
I haven't heard anything from Dame Lillard that says he has moved off of the idea that it's Miami or bust. So that's what is all of this is curious to me. So until I hear him say that, this is just all awesome circus to watch. So if they trade him to the Raptors, I mean, the chaos will begin because he has clearly said, I'm not playing for nobody else. So it's no sweat off of the Trailblazers back in any sense, because whatever it goes, they're getting assets back, and whatever assets they get will help them. It doesn't matter. And if they keep Dame, it really doesn't matter either. Like, they can do what they want with Damian Lillard, even if they play him or not play him. It's up to their decision. They're holding all the cards in this situation. So the Raptors situation is very interesting to me. Unless there's been a sit down that we don't know about with these other teams, whether it's the Raptors, the Bulls, or whoever, and they have made it clear to Dame Lillard that we want you and we hope you play for us, and I hope you're okay with playing for us. And Dame has said, cool, I'm down with doing that. Then for me, I wouldn't even be trying to make these kind of trades. Like, I would honestly just be talking to Dame. Like, he has to tell me it's okay before I'm like, okay, I want to move forward with trying to find somebody or some kind of way to get you here to my team. If it does happen and he does decide he wants to play for the Raptors, that's a tough move for us in the Eastern Conference, because that's Dame Lillard, man. Like, him moving to the Heat doesn't affect me as much as the Raptors, because then the Raptors become that another team that you're fighting for a 6 seed. Because without him, I don't think that they're really in that fight. So getting him puts them damn sure in that fight for that 6 seed for the Chicago Bulls. Him going to the Heat are dealing with the top of the East, so it's not really an issue. But, man, I really don't want this to happen, but something's going to happen, and I still hope he ends up where he wants to end up, which is Miami. But part of me doesn't want him to end up anywhere. It just wants the chaos to continue going on right now.
Joel,
I'm ready.
Just real quick, Joel in the comments says he's not buying it. He thinks the Raptors talk is a smokescreen, with the goal being putting pressure on the Heat to get a better deal done. Will, I think, before we went live, you were kind of saying something with what Dave was talking about there, as far as Dame saying Miami or bust. You think if the Raptors actually do make this big swing, there's a decent chance that Dame just refuses to show up.
Yeah, I'm not sure about like the mechanics of how that actually works. There was like a lot of chatter about it with regards to Harden holding out and how basically like the 76ers have the ability to bar him from signing as a free agent with any other team. But the problem is Dame has 4 more years. So that's not really a threat that whatever team trades for Dame can make. So I'm not really sure whether that would work, but I know, to your point, Dave, like, he only wants to go to Miami and nothing really has changed about that. So I feel like a lot of this is just the Blazers trying to find any other team that can add some leverage here to where they get a little bit more out of Miami, because it does kind of feel like that's where Dame is going to end up. I'm not really sure who that third team is that's going to take on Tyler Herro and what that third team can relay to Portland to sort of whatever it is that they want. Like, I would imagine they want Jovic and Jaime Jaquez and 27 and 29 picks from Miami, but like, what else can they get in that deal via Herro? So there's still a lot to unfold here, but I think what's really happening is like, there's kind of a soft deadline on getting this deal done, and that's next Tuesday when the Blazers have media day. And really before that, like on Monday when other teams have media day. where they want to get something done, and they're just going to try to put as much leverage as they can on Miami to like find the best solution to help them get the best package possible, because it does kind of just feel like at this point it's got to be Miami.
The other interesting Bulls wrinkle of this, as you mentioned the name Tyler Herro, came from that Jake Fisher report late Friday night saying this: keep an eye on Utah playing a potential role in a 3 or 4 team outcome of these Lillard conversations. If Portland ultimately does business with Miami, the Jazz, as well as the Bulls, Hornets, and Nets, are considered a team interested in landing Tyler Herro from the Heat. I'm sorry, what? What? Tyler, what? What? Dave, what the hell?
Listen, man, Danny Ainge, bro. Like, that's all it is Danny Ainge. Like, Tyler Herro on Utah is a good fit, honestly. Like, I think it's a good move for them to get a guy like that, pairing him with Larry Markkinen and Walker Kessler, Texas Ranger, putting them together with those guys. I think it's a solid move, like him being in Utah with that. But that is out of the blue stuff, but it sounds like Danny Ainge to me. Like, it's just like it has Danny Ainge written all over it. Let me slide in and see what I can steal real quick for nothing, from another team right now that is really trying to make this big deal to get this one guy. So let me try to act like I'm helping you, but I'm not really helping you. I'm kind of helping myself. That's what Danny Ainge trades usually are. They look like they're helping you, but they're not. He's really helping himself. So yeah, I think if they get Tyler Herro, it's a good move, honestly, for Utah, man. I think he's a solid fit.
But what about the fact that the Bulls are another named team thrown in there as someone who was interested in Herro, Will? I just don't get that.
I think it all comes back to this idea that the Bulls have been shopping Zach LaVine. And I say that intentionally. Yeah. They are shopping him. They're not taking calls. They are looking for other places to send him. And who knows why that is, whether it's they want to get off that money, whether it's they feel like he's just not their guy. Like, all this smoke from Jake Fisher over the last couple of months specifically has been the Bulls are looking around at other teams in Zach LaVine trades. They're making calls. So it does not seem like they really have a lot of like legitimate landing spots for Zach. And I think part of that is just like teams aren't really interested in, like, rebuilding teams aren't really interested in taking on a 29-year-old making $40 million a year. And contending teams are still waiting on Dame. They're still waiting on Harden. They're waiting on Embiid and Giannis now. Like, he's just not at the top of that list to where people are going to throw the kitchen sink at AK. So I do feel like this is getting to be kind of a weird situation where, like, Zach is just in all these trade rumors and it doesn't seem like he's actually going anywhere. So I don't know. It just feels a little weird. But that seems to me to be like part of the reason why Herro is linked to the Bulls, is because if you are trading Zach, you got to get somebody who can score the ball that you bring back, making like a decent amount of money to try to match. So maybe you bring back, Herro and another 10, 12, $15 million guy, and that kind of evens out the books to where you have a couple of more movable assets if you're the Bulls, but you also can stay relatively competitive even if you lose Zach in what seems to be a pretty wide open Eastern Conference.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mention the Bulls when I was talking, because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't see it. It makes no sense at all, getting the Bulls. But, Will, let me ask you, depending on how the Bulls look, because I think Zach LaVine trade talk is going to continue basically throughout his career here in Chicago, honestly.
Yep.
Do you think at the All-Star break, will that be the reason why that trade talk might continue or might not, depending on how the Bulls look? So if the Bulls are doing well and playing well, and Zach LaVine, let's say he's having an all-star type year, do you think there'll be talk or not? Because if he is playing that well and they still really want to trade him and do something, wouldn't that be the time if he's having one of those kind of seasons for the Bulls?
I mean, if the Bulls are playing well, I think that removes a lot of the questions, right? Like, I think part of the reason why they're looking for outs with Zach is because you're not going to get anything for DeMar. Like, as good as he is for the Bulls, he's more valuable to them than he would be to any other team. Part of that is because of the contract and him being expiring. Teams don't want to give up a lot for a guy that's going to enter free agency next year. But I think also, like, the way that this team is constructed, he needs to have the ball in his hands, and he's going to have the ball in his hands quite a lot. And for a lot of other teams that already have a lot of star players, you don't want to necessarily take the ball out of LeBron or AD's hands to put it in DeMar's. Like, I just think that's the reality of his style of play, is that he's kind of a tough fit on a lot of teams. So you're not trading DeMar. You've obviously just reinvested in Vooch. You're not trading him, at least until January. And frankly, then, I mean, they've shown nothing but support in terms of keeping Vooch as a foundational piece. So that leaves Zach. I mean, he's the one that can get some value back. He's got years of team security. We know that the cap is continuing to rise, and that means that Zach, he'll still be making a lot of money, but it won't be as overwhelming a number year after year. And he's 29 and he fits next to a lot of stars. Like, that's the reason why he's coming up and DeMar and Vooch aren't. Whether or not like that results in anything, who knows? But it just kind of seems like to me, Zach, and unless the Bulls really figure it out and like start playing well, and Zach's at the forefront of that, I just think that they're kind of in a situation where if they want to do anything differently, it has to be Zach that moves.
All right, let's take our first break there. Then we will come back and dive into our goals that we are setting for the wily vet, DeMar DeRozan, for his third Bulls season. While we're sharing these words from our friends and sponsors, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button if you're watching along on YouTube, and make sure you are also subscribed to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Ray Chevy. Are you in the market for a new or used vehicle? If you are, we have great news, because Ray Chevy in Fox Lake has recently joined the CHGO team. We were talking to the team at Ray, and they have this pledge called the Ray Price Promise, which is a guarantee the price you see online for their vehicles is the price you pay when you go to the dealership and say, hey, I saw this car, I saw the price next to it, I would like that car with that price. We found in many cases other dealerships will raise the price on you when you actually go to the dealership compared to what you saw online, and say things like, well, are you a farmer? I'm not. Are you a military member? I am not. Are you a recent college graduate? Way not. So I would still like that price, though, that I saw on the website, and that's what the Ray Price Promise will give you. The price you see online is the price you pay, with no add-ons to the price ever. In fact, Ray will even do everything possible to find additional savings for you, which may make the price even lower than the one you see on their website. As one of the top-selling dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and save big at Ray Chevy, because they now have over 100 Chevy Trax models available, starting at just $21,495, a steal. Now through September 30th, all buyers can qualify for 0% financing, make 0 payments until 2024, plus put no money down. Best of all, pay 0 hidden fees with that Ray Price Promise. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. Serving the community since 1963. Find new roads.
Smooth. So, during this whole week off, baby Joey's been leaving stuff at my doorstep.
Such a sweetheart.
Stuff that I need. Yeah, he's so nice, man. Stuff that I need. I don't know. I'm very confused as to how he's getting stuff from Sunnyside, and he's a baby, so that's really kind of throwing me off. So I'm very confused about that, but I don't question him when he's doing these things. I just accept it, and I say, thank you, baby Joey, because since he's getting these things and he's not of age, that means I don't understand. Because just like Shady Rays, they never understood.
Never.
They don't get it. Never understood. They don't get it. Why? Why are these glasses so expensive? We don't understand. I don't get it. Matt don't get it. Will don't get it. Law Dog don't get it. And Shady Rays don't understand it at all. They're an independent sunglasses company offering that world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair you've ever put on your beautiful, sexy face. Those durable frames, those extremely clear optics for your outdoor, and as Cool Peck is about to prove, or as I call him, Beard Peck, your indoor adventiones. Godly Toby is a word. And that's not all. Shady Rays is offering that most insane protection plan. You know it. The Matt Peck Lost and Broken Replacements Plan. There it goes. Woo-hoo. Dang, I heard it hit the glass.
That was aggressive.
I'm in a glass cave of emotion over here, Dave. Studio B.
Yeah, you will ground the glass case or anything. Can't be good, man. Can't be good. Oh, and the shirt. Oh, I'm concerned for Will now. Oh, man. And let's say he just throws those. Let's say he had those glasses on those items. Oh, they would have broken apart along with his fragile soul because he's a Bears fan. But the Bears can't help his sadness, but Shady Rays can, because even though he broke those glasses, he can put them in an envelope, send them back to Shady Rays. They will send him right back. Splat out. A brand new pair, no questions asked. Or let's say you was out and you saw Will to go Gottlieb out getting some coffee, doing his morning jog. One had some AG1 in one hand and had some coffee in the other. And he had some glasses on his face, and you were like, damn, I want to look that cool. Well, one, you can get the drinks that he got. You can do that. But two, you can't look that cool in them glasses. I am sorry. But you can go get your own pair of those glasses, send the ones that you thought you were going to look cool in, send those back to Shady Rays, pick you out a new pair. They will send you that pair, no questions asked. And as long as you do it within 30 days, you will get it for free. So, excuse me for the listeners out there, Shady Rays is going to give away their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code CHGO for 50% off of 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades. And try it for yourself. Them shades that are rated 5 stars for over 250,000 people, because the Shady Rays, y'all, the Rays are just so shady.
I don't think it's possible to describe how badly I missed hearing Dave say try
I'm glad he didn't try to throw it off to anybody else, because we needed to hear that.
No, had to be Dave today.
No. I understood, Will. I got it. I knew it when I was doing it, brother. I knew it.
Some people never understood. Dave understood.
Some people never understood it, Will. Some people never get it. Oh, my Lord. Look at this.
I mean, it's
poor
laundry.
Lawrence. Poor
Laundry list.
Poor laundry, yes.
I didn't hit Lawrence with any of it. I threw it to the side of Lawrence.
Yeah, I was concerned.
Your show's not over.
Before we move on,
I'm not losing this shirt. That's my last layer.
Thank God.
Maybe I'll throw a
I'm not
Birkenstock.
100% sure on that, man. I'm not 100% on that.
Hold on, you do breaking news without a shirt on.
That's true. Just that one time.
Yeah.
Because our boss made me.
circumstances were a little different.
Could have put a shirt on.
All right, guys, let's talk about DeMar DeRozan, shall we? Entering the final year of the sign and trade contract that brought him to Chicago 2 years ago. And he has been an all-star both of his seasons with the Bulls thus far. Kudos to him. He is entering year 3 with the Bulls, 15th NBA season for the vet, mid-range master. We are all setting goals for DeMar today, and there's been a lot of talk among Bulls fans this offseason about, well, if we're #continuity, run it back, how do we take this 25th ranked offense last season and make it better? And some of it being, do we need to remove some of that DeMar isolation mid-range game and get this ball moving more? And there are some who say, well, if you take away DeMar's elite mid-range scoring, this offense doesn't get better. It might actually get worse. So with that in mind, my goal, which we'll start with, was not necessarily trying to change who DeMar is or ask a unreasonable sacrifice of him as a veteran leader of this team and one of still this team's best players despite his age. Something that we have seen him do in the past, we know he can do, and it might behoove him and the Bulls to do so, which is why I want, just as I wanted Vooch's assist percentage to go up this season, because it means more ball movement and good, clean looks for everybody, I want DeMar's assist percentage to go up this season. Specifically, I am asking 27% assist percentage from DeMar this season. To just give you some numbers comparatively, for the past 2 seasons with the Bulls, his assist percentage was 23.3 in year 1 and then dipped down to 22.3 last season. Those seasons with the Spurs, when Pop said, hey, DeMar, I need you to facilitate more than you were doing in Toronto, and DeMar said, okay, Pop, his assist percentages with the Spurs were 27.6, 26.1, and 32. That final season in San Antonio when we saw him average damn near 7 assists a game. We know that DeMar can add that to his offensive game. I need DeMar to help this Bulls offense get the ball moving more and not stick constantly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I picked a similar one. I think it's a key point that you mentioned that I want to reiterate, that like you don't want to ask DeMar to change who he is, because what he does well, he does as well as anybody. I also think like a lot of people criticize DeMar for not shooting threes. Like the problem with the Bulls offense, and specifically with the 3-point volume, is not DeMar. You need somebody who can score efficiently with the ball. And if he's somebody like Dame or Steph or prime James Harden who can hit step back threes, that's great. But when you can score as efficiently at any spot on the floor as DeMar can from the mid range, you don't want to like remove that from his game. That's what makes the Bulls offense efficient. The problem is that there's no spacing around him. And I think there's a lack of trust in that spacing to where the ball doesn't move around as much. So I had a similar goal for you. I said, what did I say, Lawrence?
What did
It is
I?
on screen.
0.85 assist to usage. So I went a little bit of a different direction here, where yes, I think the raw assist percentage does need to go up. And assist percentage is what percent of the possessions out of 100 possessions do you result in an assist for your team. So the assist to usage tries to adjust for how much you actually have the ball.
Right.
So like what
Because
share,
his usage did go down from Bulls year 1 to Bulls year 2.
exactly. Last year, 27.8 usage. Year before that, 31.8. So a huge dip in usage. 4% is a big number. That 31.8 though was a career high by a mile. So I think even if that usage stays the same, even if it goes up, like with that, the assist rate should also go up. So to add a little bit more context, last year, assist to usage was 0.75. I said 0.85, so I want that to go up. Year before that, 0.69. But as you said, with the Spurs, where he was really dialed in, it was 1.06, meaning he had a higher assist percentage than he did usage percentage, which is incredible, 97th percentile. Year before that, 0.91. Year before that, 0.9. I think he can get close to that without having to sacrifice too much in the way of his scoring and his elite efficient scoring. But I think, especially with the added shooting, especially with Zach playing as well as he did down the stretch of last season, and especially having gained another year of continuity, like there needs to be a little bit more trust. I don't want to take the ball out of DeMar's hands, but I think he can generate some more offensive looks that result in open threes. And I think that's where that assist percentage can lead to.
I hear that. I hear those 2 points. I think they're both valid as hell. For me, I think I went straight with what it was called, which was prove it. And when it comes to me, and I was looking around and I'm going through this stuff, and I was like, prove it. And this is all I kept coming back to. Put it up there, Lawrence.
Can I guess?
NADT. Go ahead, Will.
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing.
I like
you don't
that.
have to prove a damn thing. DeMar DeRozan has been unreal as a Chicago Bull. In his seasons here, 26 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds since he's been with the Chicago Bulls. 87.7% his first season free throws, 87.2 the next season. This year, he will move into the top 30 as far as all-time scoring is concerned with the Chicago Bulls. That will be in 3 seasons. He will be in the top 30. Right now, in points per game, do you know what DeMar DeRozan is in points per game all-time for the Chicago Bulls? He's second in points per game. He's second. All right? That's insane. Now, that does speak to the futility of Chicago Bulls and how they played, but that's still astronomically insane that this dude is number 2, obviously behind Jordan. He's 26 a game. Jordan was 31. That's crazy. I don't want DeMar DeRozan to prove nothing. He's just been outstanding on the court and off the court. I'm sure you guys heard that Dalen Terry story that he told when DeMar DeRozan, he was on a podcast, and he talked about working with DeMar DeRozan. He was talking about getting up at 4 a.m. He was like, DeMar DeRozan called him and was like, yo, it's time, get up. And he said he did, he brushed his teeth, got up. Said when he opened his door at 4:15, DeMar DeRozan was standing right there. Looking at him and telling him, yeah, come on, little mother. You know what I mean? Let's go. That's the kind of dude you want on your team. He has been impactful in so many ways off the court for the young guys. He has been impactful on the court. You know the clutch numbers. You know Matt talked about him being a mid-range monster and an assassin. Every time he touches the ball, I just think it's going in. I just think it's a bucket. He takes away worry for me in the fourth quarter because if the game is close, I'm like, fine, give it to DeMar and let's go ahead and get this victory or try to get this win right here. He has been great and has done it at the age he is, going into his 15th season, playing about 36 minutes a game and doesn't miss games either. About 74 to 76 games is what he's going to play for the Chicago Bulls, man, whether he feels great or not. He's been amazing. For me, he has absolutely nothing to prove. Just keep being the awesome player on and off the court that he's been.
When you talk about DeMar needing to maybe shift certain ways that he plays his game or not to benefit the Bulls and the Bulls offensively, Bulls fans want different sacrifices from DeMar that I've seen. There's a lively debate in our comments going on right now about can we finally see a DeMar that's more willing to shoot a higher volume of threes because this team is so three-point starved. I don't necessarily think that should be a focal point. I've also seen the argument from several people that our guy Throne Hatch has suggested in the comments, which is bringing DeMar off the bench. That, I think, is an insulting sacrifice.
Never.
That DeMar DeRozan
Never in life
should not have to make, and no fault to him, I don't think, would not make. I don't think this is a Carmelo at the end of his career, Chris Paul going over to the Warriors and people debating whether or not he's going to crack into that Warriors starting five at this stage of, at Chris Paul's age. Yeah, DeMar's getting up there. But as you just laid out, Dave, he has been an all-star for the past 2 seasons. And deservedly so. Not like weird fan voting all-star. Like selected by the coaches of the league, bona fide all-star. Maybe you can make an argument for DeMar coming off the bench being in this team's best interest. I still would disagree with that. But it's also just grossly disrespectful.
Yeah, DeMar has been he's deserved every single thing he's gotten from the Bulls. I don't want to see him come off now, if he's dropping the 16 points a game, like you said, Matt, if this is a Carmelo Anthony situation where it's clearly beneficial for him to come off the bench for that, then fine. But this dude has been your best player for your team since he's got here, since he walked in the door and wasn't meant to be your best player, but was like, no, I'm going to be the best player on your team. I don't know how many games he's won for us. I mean, you can't even talk about him without talking about those back-to-back victories on New Year's Day. Like, that was all DeMar DeRozan, man. Like, he is an all-star. He is all NBA here with the Chicago Bulls. The best years of his career statistically have been here with the Chicago Bulls, man. Like, so unless that falls off a cliff, I don't even entertain putting that man on the bench, man. Absolutely not.
I know we don't all necessarily see totally eye to eye on this, but I also just think that people underestimate how much he keeps this team afloat. Like, I really do think that the bottom would fall out if DeMar was not on the court. And like, you can argue what you want about what direction the Bulls should take, who is the more valuable player, who's the better trade chip. Like, I genuinely believe that if DeMar was to miss this entire season, or if they were to trade him and not get much back in return, this team would look a lot worse and not really be close to the play-in. Like, I've always said, DeMar is the ultimate floor raiser. Levine is the ultimate ceiling raiser. And I think that's true. Like, Zach is the kind of guy, and responding here to another comment from much earlier in the show, like, I'm not saying Zach is not worth the haul. It's more just like about the marketplace. And I think that's true for DeMar too. Like, what those guys are worth in a vacuum or for this team is different than what it would be for any other team, especially considering just the marketplace around stars and how they're traded right now. Both of these guys are incredibly talented, but I think DeMar keeps the team afloat. He's steady. He raises the floor so much in a way that I just don't think they would be able to recover from. Not only if they just moved him to the bench, but if they traded him for nothing, or if he walks in free agency next year, like, it's not going to look good. And a huge piece of that is just the steadiness. Like, he is, in a lot of ways, the point guard of this team, regardless of how we feel about what his assist percentage is or assist usage, whatever. Like, I really like what you had, Dave, as your proof it, because he he already does everything that you want out of a guy. And maybe he's not like a tier 1A super duper star that can be the best player in a championship team, but like he raises the floor of this team more than anybody else does. And he automatically makes you in that race for a play-in spot.
Last thing, and then we can take our second break. But when it comes to the DeMar thing and whether or not he fits, because I saw Damon saying Pop couldn't wait to get rid of DeMar because he didn't fit. Bulls fans make the argument that DeMar is not a fit with these other pieces. I think it was Sports Chicago Style in the comments earlier who asked, if Billy yells run, will DeMar run? And that's a simple way of raising a more complicated question of, the Bulls have said under Billy Donovan, we want to play faster, we want to get out and transition, and we want to add some of these, randomness elements to our offense. DeMar being your most reliable offensive piece in the slow plotting way that he dominates is counterintuitive to the Bulls successfully doing that on offense, Will.
Yeah, but I also think that like those two things aren't mutually exclusive. That's why we saw success when Lonzo was hitting ahead passes to Zach LaVine and throwing overhand like 100-mile-an-hour fastballs for 360 dunks. Like you can have really good transition play and then still have a ultimate, I'm going to get my shot and it's going to probably go in type of closer on your team for like the second part of a possession. I think that's where that's where like the misalignment comes in. The Bulls like initial actions of their offense have not been good enough. I think they over-rely on DeMar in those situations. Part of that's on DeMar, part of that's on the team, part of that's on the rest of the guys. And as a result, it's on the front office. But I don't think you can just say DeMar doesn't fit because he likes to do that. Because as soon as he's gone, you're going to see how much you miss that. I think the Bulls need to do a better job of finding open looks through the flow of an offense early on in the possessions. But then you got to have a guy like DeMar who can just get a shot up. And Zach can do that too, but you can't just have one guy that can score. Like you really need guys that can play off of one another. And I just don't think that like removing him for Patrick Williams to get a few more touches a game is like a very productive way to win games this year. And that's really what it comes down to. That's the goal, is winning games. If you wanted to lose and go pure player development and give the ball to Patrick and Kobe, like that's what happened. You'd lose. And that's not what this team wants to do.
And Matt, real quick, to a much bigger and greater extent, it's the same thing that I remember with the Lakers in the 80s. Remember when the Lakers got Magic and Worthy and Byron Scott and Michael Cooper, and all they wanted to do was run, and you've got 18-year vet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who's not about to do all that. Well, guess what? He was still starting on that team, and they were still running, but when they needed a bucket, you give it to Kareem, and he's going to get you a bucket because that's what it's going to come down to, especially as the playoffs and those things come around. That kind of stuff starts slowing down, and you need bucket getters. That's what you need. And so you dump it down to those kind of guys, and you allow them to score, man. So, yeah, you can still run, like Will said. Like, you can still run and do those things, man, but you're still going to need a dude who can put the ball into the bucket for you and slow the pace down at one point in time, man, because that's just the game. That's how the game rolls.
That's like the biggest criticism of the Grizzlies right now is like they're incredible in the regular season. They fly up and down. They get a ton of easy points in transition, but like in the half court, they just can't get enough. And like that's where a guy like DeMar comes in handy. Like you need a guy who can go do that. I think that's a great point.
I think that is the team that we saw jump out to that lead as the East's top seed for the first half of 2 seasons ago, because you had that special seasoning, the special sauce of Lonzo's transition offensive abilities, and when it was a tight one, get the ball to DeMar in crunch time.
It's all about
worked.
the balance.
Right. It was that balance. That balance is gone now, and the Bulls have been flailing for 1.5 years trying to figure out how to replace that Lonzo production. Javon Carter, you're up. Good luck. But that's it for DeMar. I love Dave's meathead grades kind of take on DeMar DeRozan's Prove It. We'll take our second break, come back, and dive into our goals for Alex Caruso, reigning all-defensive first-team member for the upcoming year. Hit that thumb if you didn't do it the first time around. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Sunnyside. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. A place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. They've got everything you need to elevate your football season. Or if you're a Bears fan, make your football season hurt a little less. You also can make easy online ordering and then in-store pickup part of your weekly or monthly routine whenever you need to make your next stop at Sunnyside, whichever location is nearest to you. They've got everything under the sun as far as cannabis and all of the various products. They've got flour, they've got tinctures, they've got the vaping things, and of course, so many delicious different edibles to choose from. Now through October 15th, head to sunnyside.shop and use our promo code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer, and you can't stack it with their other promotions and offers, but it's not just for first-time users. Everyone can use that promo code CHGO25 when they check out. Pick up everything you need to elevate or help your football season. Must be 21 and over or an Illinois Med Card holder.
Beer. It's a thing. People love it. You saw Matt, as soon as you said the word, his just body just said, oh, he understands what it means. Right now it means depression for a bearded peck. That's what beer means right now for him. But it helps a little bit. And it helps that it comes from the Goose Island Beer Company, who rocks with us here at CHGO. Hit it one more time, Lawrence, because I like you. Thank you, sir. Been Chicago's beer since 1988. That is the Jordan beer. They have so many. Of course, the Beer Hug family. They have the 312 Wheat Ale, the Matt and Big Dave favorite, that full pocket pills. But since the weather is turning and the leaves are turning a pretty color outside, it is time for the fall, which means it is time for Oktoberfest. That Goose Island Oktoberfest beer. I cannot wait to try this and have myself some enjoyment in a can, especially watching the 0-3 Chicago Bears. But you can head on down and grab you an ultra fresh exclusive beer at the Goose Island Original Brew House on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or go over to the tap room on Fulton Street in West Town and enjoy yourself, because it's the Goose Island Beer Company. It's Chicago's beer, the true taste of Chicago. One more time, Lawrence.
Quack, quack. Big Dave, while you were gone and Will had one of his days filling in with ad reads, he called the Goose Island honk honk a quack quack.
Hey,
Oh my
Shucky
gosh.
Ducky. Quack,
Not my
quack.
best moment, but we're moving past it until Matt brings it up again tomorrow.
Should we, we could deflect.
I'm about
that
to say
topic.
who is we. Don't seem like a we thing. So you're like gonna stay right there.
We could bring up
It's
that
a day
video.
of atonement, and I feel bad about it. All
We
right?
could bring up the video from Vegas if you want to talk about that instead.
No, we can just move on from both those things. We just keep moving forward.
I had to
Trucking
give
along.
Shady Rays another shout out, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just look too good in the Shady Rays there at Stadium Swim at Circa
And
to
nothing
not share it with the internet. No reason to be
had a
humble,
crush.
Will. No reason to be humble. All right, guys, let's talk some Alex Caruso coming into his third Bulls season, just like his teammate DeMar DeRozan. Coming off a year in which he played a career-high 67 games. He did play 64 for the Lakers in the COVID-shortened 1920 season. But a career-high 67 last year, starting 36 of them, and celebrating only other Bull alongside DeMar DeRozan to get a little bit of NBA award hardware for his trophy case. All-star DeMar and all defensive first team Alex Caruso. Perhaps one of the most valuable contracts in the NBA at large right now. We all know what Caruso does for this team, setting the tone defensively, the perimeter defense, the steals that lead to easy buckets in transition. And when I started thinking about what I want to see from Caruso this season, it basically is what Sports Chicago Style just said there in the comments: stay on the court. He had 67. So I have a sort of like a twofer goal for Caruso this year, which is basically prove again what you proved last year. I want 65 games played And knowing about the league's new rules for the season-long awards, all NBA teams, all defensive teams, you need to hit that 65-game threshold to qualify. So play those 65 games at minimum, Alex, and make the all-defensive team again, because that is why you are important to this team.
You are in my brain because I also chose something very similar. I just said like repeat as first team all defense because a lot has to go right in order for that to happen. One, the Bulls have to have success not only as a team but as a defense. Last year, 5th overall, first after All-Star break, which is just still mind-blowing to me. And I would say the vast majority of that is as a result of Alex Caruso being an absolute menace on that end. And I did not ever lose interest or stop having fun promoting his candidacy for first team all defense. And I don't think that will be the case again next year. He was outstanding. I think for him to get there, it would have to meet the 65 games played number. It would require him to play a lot of minutes, and it would require the Bulls to be a really good defense. And if all those three things can happen, then they're going to have a chance to be, a play-in team, and that's what they want to do. Like, a lot of this hinges on a $9 million a year role player, which is crazy. But, I mean, that's how good he is. That's how impactful he is. And for him to be able to do that again, I think it would just show you that the Bulls were successful this year.
So I went a little differently, and y'all might disagree with me on it. But it's not to say I don't think Alex Caruso and what I think about him and how incredible he is, especially defensively. Making first team all defense, I know made my man Will Gottlieb's nipples hard. And I know it made him super happy. So,
Lordy.
Because he was amazing. Like, seriously, that dude is special when it comes to defense. Like, to watch what he does, and you've seen so many possessions where he literally guarded the 5 people. Like, you watched him do it and then call out everything that was going to happen, get the rebound, and then start the break. Like, you watched him do those things. He's special. But you all know, I have said consistently about Alex Caruso, what I think about him is I think he's rims. I think he's a luxury item that for a team that is ready to win. I think he is a person that you go get, like a specialist that is ready to win. So that's kind of my prove it this year, is to prove that you are not rims. So again, he had career highs in games played, games started, efficient field goal percentage, free throws, blocks. It was his highest field goal percentage. Like, he had all these career highs in those things. When I look at the games where Alex Caruso played for the Bulls this season, the Bulls were 33-34. And without him on the floor, they were 7-8. So even in the year previously, with Alex Caruso, they were 24-17. Without him, they were 22-19. So for me, I don't know what I lose. I know what I lose defensively with Alex Caruso. I get that. But I need the scoring from Alex Caruso. I'm not saying that he has it or not. I don't know. But I know that's what the Bulls were truly lacking, was that scoring ability. Sometimes he had those brain farts. I still remember, was that the Pacers they played where he couldn't inbound the ball on 2 straight possessions? They couldn't get it in. They called a timeout, and he still couldn't get the ball in. He's had, those brain kind of fart things happen to him. But I need it more so to affect that winning, that bottom line of it. I understand when he's in, that's the best rotation they have. Those are the highest numbers that they put up as far as the ratings and all those things are concerned. But I needed to affect that bottom line a little bit more when Alex Caruso is on that floor. Even when I look at that play-in game against the Heat, he had a great game. I mean, he had 16 points. He shot 4-8 from 3. He was awesome. He played like 30 minutes. And people barely remember. All they remember is Kobe White not being on the floor, because that's the reason that you didn't win. It wasn't the 16 points. It helped, but you needed Zach LaVine to have those 16 points. You needed him to put those things forward. So I wanted more to affect winning. I want him to prove more that he's not a luxury item, that he is a necessity for this team to actually truly, truly win.
Yeah, along those lines of wanting some more offense from Caruso, Dave, I think you're not alone there. I've seen some people in our comments talking about wanting Caruso to up his three-point percentage, maybe even increase the number of attempts. Because, like, as you just said, these past couple of years, we've seen games where Caruso will knock down 3 or 4 threes, and you're like, oh, we got offense Caruso tonight. Great. That's helpful. And then there are nights where you peep the box score and you're like, okay, Caruso played, let's see, 31 minutes tonight, and he scored 0 points. And, shout out to our guy Marquet, who has said repeatedly, and I think he is right in a lot of ways, Caruso can still be this team's most valuable player on nights when he scores 2 points or 4 points because of huge plays he makes on the defensive end. But I think you're right too, Dave, in that you'd ideally get something else from him on the offensive end. He's not going to break down defenses off the dribble, but if he can, sorry to whose comment it was, I lost it was a while back, just knock down your corner threes when you're open or your elbow threes when you're open. If you can do that, last season, Caruso knocked him down at 36.4%. That's great.
That's respectable. Yeah.
2.3 attempts per game. So, he's not chucking them up a lot, but if you can give me 36% again, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I think we also need to keep in context, Caruso is a role player. He's not one of your franchise driving players, as good as he is. But, and take this for what it's worth, it's obviously not everything, but he did lead the team in point differential by a significant margin. According to Cleaning the Glass, plus 9.7 points per 100 possessions when Caruso was on the floor, which leads to, by their metrics, a plus 24 expected wins, which by far the most valuable player on this team. And that's only part of that's part of it. We all watch his impact. We see that, but you're right. He's not like he's a perfect, well-rounded player, but he is, especially for being a role player, I think one of the most impactful in the entire NBA.
Sure.
So and I think being able to maximize the jump shooting, we've seen him operate as a screener a little bit, baseline cutting, those are all ways that he can maximize his value on the other end, on the offensive end, and he needs to do those things. But if we're just getting what we got last year, for me, that's going to mean success. So that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I want to see more of it too, man. I just want to see more of it. And you're right, he is a role player, and I think it's because of his importance that I kind of say these things, even though with him being a role player, of his importance to this team and what he impacts. I put these kind of things on him. So, and it's simplified because you can point to DeMar DeRozan and be like, I know why we won or lost because of how he played, and I can do that with Zach LaVine too. And I can do that sometimes with Vooch. And I can definitely do that with Patrick Williams. Because I'm like, if he's scoring, the Bulls ain't losing. But guys like Caruso, I want to be able to do that too as well. Even though they're role players, I want to be able to do that too as well. Because I can kind of do it with Kobe White. Damn, he went 1 for 9 tonight. Well, you know what I'm saying? I know why we didn't win this 3-point battle or something like that. But Caruso can come out and get you 5 steals, 5 blocks, and do all those things beyond the simple numbers that people might look at, but at the end of the day, you're like, well, I still lost this game, and that's what I wanted to affect a little bit more. Is those things I wanted to affect more so the outcome of the game as far as the winning is concerned, and not necessarily every cool thing that's happening and going on within. I need the bottom line to be affected a little bit more because he starts. We talk about him being a starter and all these other kind of things. You know what I mean?
AK, shout out to our guy AK in the comments saying Caruso also gets people in position to defend through his communication. And that, I think, honorable mention goal for me for Caruso this year is to maintain that and also maybe even increase it a little bit when you talk about the leaders on this team. Where is the leadership coming from? Because DeMar and Zach are the 2 most talented players, and DeMar is obviously the most, long-tenured NBA vet. And some of the young guys look up to him. People talk, fondly about how DeMar takes the young guys under his wing, whether it's Pat, Dalen, Kobe, off-season training and workouts with him. And there is some element to that. But if the Bulls are going to be an elite defensive team again next season and prove that this past season wasn't a fluke, some of those guys need somebody to get, as you would say, Big Dave, in the ass when they are not bringing that defensive intensity. And Caruso, you have proven, Caruso, first team all defense last season, you are elite in an important way in the NBA. You have the right to yell at DeMar or yell at Zach or whoever it might be if on any given night they are dogging it on defense. Because Caruso's first training camp here 2 years ago, where he had that one quote after one of their practices where he was like, I can't believe just the complete lack of talking that was going on the defensive end. You got to talk. And when Caruso's not out there, the Bulls don't talk. So be a leader, Caruso. I want to see that too.
It's honestly crazy that, because that was what Adam Amin said when he came on too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just lack of communication. It's crazy that they were as good as they were last year for a lot of reasons, but I think that's a big one. Also, when that music just came on, I thought Law was playing you off. I thought he was playing you off stage.
Yeah. I usually only
Law
do that for
would
the Bears.
never.
I usually only do that for the Bears when Carm starts singing.
Yeah, no one ever
Or
needs to hear that.
it's hour 2 of talking about a 30-point fucking loss.
I saw some of
that
the
came
comments
from
said
Poland,
that we need to check on our friend Braggs. Sometimes producer of this here CHGO Bulls show, obviously also a member of CHGO Bears. He wore a bag over his head during their post-game show yesterday. And I hope he's doing better
Yeah,
today.
and it was Anthony. He said it was an hour and a half show. No. That was 2 hours, and he had it on the whole time. But
Man.
here's the thing. That dude he contains multitudes because he was on Fox 32 this morning at like 6 in the morning.
saw.
Wearing a suit.
Wearing a suit and tie.
Suited up.
Suit and tie Braggs.
Yeah.
A kind I had never seen before.
Yeah, and then we did a Zoom call like an hour later, and he was still wearing the suit and tie, but he was like in his garage. It was like, you're home. Take it off, man. What are you doing?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Bears fans everywhere. It's another tough Monday. It's another Bears Monday where I'm wearing CHGO Hawks gear for a reason. Connor Bedard, you are our only hope. That's it. We're out of time for today. Back tomorrow. Big Dave reunited with us in studio tomorrow. Same time, same place, 4 p.m. Central Time. And a very special guest will be rejoining us here at CHGO. Bulls legend, Bulls fan favorite. Stick around for that. In the meantime, you can follow Will, this one, on Twitter at Will_Gottlieb. Tease. Big Dave is at BWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out, thanks, and appreciation. Our pal producer, Lawrence, on the controls.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, I almost hit you with my shirt.
No, that's fine.
Hit that thumb on your way out if you haven't done so yet. Bulls Nation, and we will talk to you tomorrow. See you, Red. Be good.